Everyone, Shiny Key with Crevian here. I'm going to be going over how to install the Ultimate Menu System into Ascent Combat Framework. I have my tutorial project opened up here and getting ready for this process. You're going to want to migrate the Ultimate Menu System over into this project. I've already done this, but just in case you need a refresher, what you're going to do is you're going to create the project, right click the Ultimate Menu folder in that project, and then migrate the folder over. Now, a few notes on that process. I was having a little bit of trouble getting that to work in 5.4. For whatever reason, when I was trying to do it in 5.4, the editor would crash on me when I attempted to do that. I tried it in a different couple editors. I even tried a couple of restalls. I was not able to get it working, so I'm not sure if it's my system, if it's something wrong with the pack. I'm not sure. If you're coming into that issue, couple ways to fix that. Number one would be just using the File Explorer, creating a 5-point version of Ultimate Menu, and then use the File Explorer to move the folder over manually into your content folder. Option two would be making a 5.3 install of Unreal Engine, making a 5.3 variant of the Ultimate Menu project, and then using the migrate from there. For this video, that's what I did. I used the 5.3 method. In the project that I'm working on, I copied the folder over manually. I don't always like doing that, as there's sometimes what I've noticed some issues with doing it that way. It didn't seem to matter too much for this pack. It seems like everything loaded in correctly and it was okay, but just two options for you to get this moved over into your system. Okay, so once we get moved over into the system, you can see I already have the menu empty map opened. And let me explain that a little bit here. So if we go into the Ultimate Menu, the Environments folder, and then the Maps folder, we got a couple levels that come with this project to play around with. The menu empty one is going to be the actual menu. That's where the code lives. So as you can see with the menu open in world settings, I have this game mode underscore menu mode, and I have this I have the player controllers that are setting up the main menu on here. The menu level, that's the content. So that's what you're seeing right here with the lights, the different camera points, the actors that are seen behind the menu. The way the main menu works is by pulling in a streaming level. So if I come over to my levels tab, now if you don't see this tab, just come on over to window up here and turn on your levels tab. So once you're in that levels tab, you're going to see that we have menu level. If I hit the eye on this and hide it, you'll see that this level is empty. That is intentional because the persistent level right here is this one, the menu empty. The menu level is this other map right here. That is intentional, as this menu uses streaming to load quicker. So it's going to load this menu empty, and then in Blueprint, it's going to call the load method for this menu level to get that loaded in. Let me show you where that is real quick, so you understand kind of how this process is working before we get into the integration. So if I come into Ultimate Menu, Blueprints, and then in the Framework folder, we're going to see this UMS game instance right here. I'm going to open that up. Now, if I come over into this function, Event Display Menu Content, this is where the bread and butter of the system happens. This is what is actually being called to open up your different menus. If I come in here and we go off of the begin play line, this is the menu that, as you would gather, happens on begin play. This is the initial state of the menu. And you'll notice what we have is a load stream level by name, in this case, menu level. So this is the node that is actually causing the level to load in the background. Okay, so if you're going to change what level it is, you're going to edit it, or you want just a different level entirely, this is where you're going to do that. This is also where you'll go if you want to change what menus are loaded. So, for example, there we have the widget begin play, we have the tabbed main menu right here. This is where you're going to go if you have your own versions of those widgets and you don't want to edit the ones that came with the hack. So, just wanted to point that out to you. All right, let's get into integrating this into Ascent Combat Framework. If we play this right now, we're not going to see anything interesting. And that's because we actually haven't told it to initialize. Ultimate Menu System, as you just kind of saw there, uses a game instance to store and pool all the widgets for your game. Now, this has a lot of advantages to it because what this allows you to do is have a consistent menu system throughout the lifetime of the game. So you don't have to just use this for main menus. You can actually use this for in-game menus and systems as well. To get that to work, though, all that has to be in the game instance, which we currently do not have set up. So let's get that set up right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to Edit, and we're going to open up Project Settings, and we're going to come into Maps and Modes. Now, I have this set to none for some reason. What you'll probably see here is the ACF Ultimate Game Instance BP. That's what you're probably going to see in here. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to take a look at this real quick. This is the game instance that comes with the sample or the ultimate sample project from Ascent. Most of the functions in here have to do with their main menu. Because we're replacing it with this tutorial, we don't need a lot of the functions in here. You're free to copy whatever you want over. It's not necessary. The one thing I would consider moving over would be the event we're looking at right now, the open level with loading screen. One note, make sure this pin is connected. It is not connected in the default sample, and that may be why you're having some issues with this node not doing anything. Just make sure that that is connected. I already have it connected here because I already had that fixed, but just wanted to point that out. Reason I say you may want to consider using the loading screen. The ultimate menu system comes with a loading system already built in. It is a blueprint loading system, however, and there are limitations to doing it in blueprint. Mainly, typically what you see with the blueprint system is you'll see this kind of freezing when you're loading. The way Ultimate Menu System gets around that is by using these streaming levels, which is not a bad way by any means to get around that. But if you don't want to do that, I personally don't like doing that. You need to do a C++ version of the loading system. So either the one that Ascent Combat Framework gives you, or something like a sync loading system. Something in C++, as C++ does not have that limitation of only being able to load when a level is loaded. All right. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot use the assets that Ultimate Menu provides you for the loading screen. So if I come over to Ultimate Menu and I go into the user interface folder, and then I come under examples, we'll see that we have a WB loading screen here. If you like the look of this loading screen, you can still use this widget with the Ascent loading screen or the sync loading screen. You can still mimic this and you can still use this. I'm personally just not using the loading system behind it because it is a blueprint loading system and I don't really want to deal with streaming levels right now. So with that out of the way, we need to make our own variant of the game instance because we don't really want to touch these classes. We want to keep them as is. And as mentioned, most of the stuff in here, except the loading screen, is this it's for the main menu for Ascent, so we don't actually need a lot of the stuff, except maybe the loading screen, which you can copy over. What we do want out of this, however, is we want to figure out what the parent class is for our game instance. So in the ultimate game instance, we're going to notice that the parent class is game instance BP. If I open that one up, if I hit the little pencil and open that up in parent, the actual parent class is ACF game instance. This is what we're going to derive for with our game instance. If I come over into my content browser and I go into ultimate menu and I go into blueprints, then framework, we're going to see that we have this UMS game instance. I am going to duplicate this and move this over into a new folder. You're welcome to move this over directly and rename it. You can copy it the way I'm doing it. It doesn't really matter what you do here. Generally, I follow the rule of thumb of I don't mess with the asset folder itself. I'll make copies of, implement what I want, and when I don't feel like I need the asset as a reference anymore, I'll go ahead and get rid of it. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this tutorial game instance. Obviously, name it whatever you want. And I'm going to remove the 1 on the end, just because OCD. And I'm going to move this tutorial game instance over into my user interface folder that I have in the tutorial over here, just so we can clean things up a little bit and look at what we're actually looking at. All right, I'm going to open this up now, and we're going to see pretty much what the exact same thing we saw in the UMS game instance before, because we made a copy of it. Now, if you are following this process, again, if you want to change the menu level that is being displayed here, you would add it over here to levels. So levels, add existing, then you would add your level into it. And then in the game instance you just created, under on menu content requested, this is in the event graph, you would change the streaming level name right there if you wanted to change the level to something else. You don't have to. You can just edit the one that comes with the system. It's just whatever you want to do with that. Okay. Now, we're going to make a few edits here, just that I have found that has worked a little bit better. One thing that you'll find with this system is the system assumes that you're going to start on the main menu, which for a game and a package project is a very good assumption. You're not going to just jump right into the level. You're going to have some kind of main menu before you get to the actual level. This is a great assumption for the finished product. This is not I don't want to say it's not a good assumption, but it can get annoying if you are loading the level directly to edit. So how do we fix that? The way I found to fix it is only calling this initialization event when we're on the main menu. Okay. There are pros and cons to this. For example, if you're going to use the example I mentioned earlier, where you're going to use this for in-game menus, like maybe a quest window or a crafting window, this will prevent you from testing those specific features when you're not on the main menu. You would have to go through the main menu to initialize the menu, go into your game world, and then test those windows with it. So just a note on that if you are going to do this. However, for me, I've decided that if I'm going to be doing either one or the other. If I'm going to be testing menu level functions, I'm going to start on the main menu. If I'm not going to be testing menu windows, I don't want the menu to show at all. So if you want to do it the way I did it, here's how we did that. I'm going to get the current level name. I'm going to get that just by right-clicking anywhere here and just pull out get current level name. And I'm going to pull off of the return value on this, and I'm going to type in 3 equal signs because I want the string equal exactly. And let me give myself a little bit more room here. Now, what we're comparing this to, we want to check if we're in the menu itself. So our map right here is called menu empty. So that's actually what I'm going to type here. Now, if your main menu map is called something different, remember, not this one, not the one that you're streaming in, the actual map that you load when you're going to hit play. That's what needs to go here. So if we are on that map, we're going to branch off of that. and we're going to plug that into the true. All right, so now this initialization event will only call if we are on the main menu. It will not call if we're loaded any other level. Okay? Now, you could expand this a little bit more, and if you don't want errors down the road, also add the same call between like the display menu content. That way you can't display menus unless it's initialized. I'm not going to go quite that far. For me, just in testing, this is plenty. Just to not to initialize it, and then just keep in mind that you're going to get errors unless you go through the main menu. All right. Okay, with that done now, we need to actually make use of this game instance now. So we're going to come back into project settings, and right down at the bottom where we see game instance class, we're going to set our game instance, which in my case would be tutorial underscore game instance. And I'm going to close these up. I close the ACF blueprints, and then in the ultimate menu, we're going to hit play. Now, if you're making a multiplayer project, I always forget this for some reason, but make sure you're playing in standalone. You are going to get some errors if you try this in client because the main menu system is not designed for multiplayer and it's not supposed to be. You're going to be not authenticated when you're on the main menu. You're not going to be on a server when you're on a main menu screen, right? Now, I want to clarify and say that this system does work in multiplayer. So you can use this in multiplayer, just you cannot be in a client mode when you hit play on this. All right? So just make sure that you have play a standalone. You're not alone. I will have this setting on almost exclusively, and then I'll come back to the main menu, forget to turn it off, and have a bunch of errors and be scratching my head for a few minutes. So just make sure you set this to standalone. And now when we hit play, we're going to see our menu. If you're not seeing this, remember you have to set the game instance set up in your project settings to be able to see this. The game instance is what is controlling this. All right? Hit play. Great. One more thing before we close this video up. I don't know how they did this, but they actually made it so that if you hit escape, it actually doesn't close the editor out, which is kind of cool. But anyways, we're going to escape out of that. The other thing that I wanted to mention, if you wanted to make your own classes, the only other class that is important for this menu system is actually the menu controller. So if I search for that, when I open this up, and I'll move this over to my main screen here. This is all that is doing this, okay? It's grabbing the game instance, and it's calling the construct menu system. So if you have your own menu controller, or you would like to make your own menu controller, this is the only node that you need to call to get the effect that we just watched, in addition to having the game instance set up. But that is going to do it for integrating the main menu into Ascent framework. We will, in future videos, go over the system more. I'm not going to dive a lot into the system. This is more just getting the menu system to work. When we start going into some more advanced videos, adding different functionalities to the menu, we'll be exploring and diving into the system more. But for now, this should get you working. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Shiny Key on Discord. The Ultimate Menu System also has a great Discord where you can ask questions. They also have a documentation page that goes over how a lot of the system works if you do have questions about this. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.